Hello everybody. Today we are going to review Rush Hour 3. Just move this off of my couch. So this is obviously, back then it would have been probably the final movie, but now it seems that a fourth one is in development. I know I mentioned that in my review of the first movie, but so this movie takes place, they're back in America. It seems like Carter is really enjoying life. He's just kind of like I don't know whether he was just on traffic duty that day or he's just kind of become a traffic cop now that he's probably closer to the maybe end of his policing career, I suppose. Because this movie was, 2007, so it'd be 14 years old now. Seems really crazy that it's that old. So there is an assassination attempt on, why can't I think of his name now? Yes, Ambassador Han. And they don't really know why. And then there's another assassination attempt on a guy named Renard at the French consulate, I do believe. And this was all in the States. So they send, and why can't I think of the daughter's name? Was it Su Young? Yes. They send Su Young off with Renard to... Oh no, I guess they didn't, because they were about to, and then the assassination attempt on Renard happened. So did they leave her in the States? Oh no, I guess they did send her off to Paris with Renard, and then they find out that he's actually working with the... Was it Triads? Triads? Triads, I guess, is how you pronounce that. He's actually, I guess, the leader. So they're looking for this thing called Shaishin, or at least they think it's a person in the beginning. And Lee runs into his brother Kenji, who he never had spoken about before. So that seems to be kind of his kryptonite in this movie was Kenji the entire time. Because Kenji was after the Shaishin, obviously, too. And then when they go over to Paris, they run into this... this was kind of like reminiscent of, like, I don't know, just because maybe Chris Tucker, or no, Carter kind of seemed like a James Bond type character in this movie because he was after the woman, was it Genevieve? I'm assuming that's the girl that played the part of... It must have been. It had to have been her. Anyway, and there was this girl that kept constantly causing problems for them, known as the Dragon Lady. When they meet her, I believe it was in the casino in Paris, very close to the beginning of the movie, she tries to lure Lee in, thinking that I guess he's going to get information out of her, and then she tries to kill him. And of course, Carter thinks that they're going in to have sex, so he's standing there waiting at the door while they're fighting. And from his side, that's what it sounds like. But obviously, we know that her and Carter are fighting, and she just cast as Dragon Lady. And her name is Yuki Kudo. That's the girl who played the Dragon Lady. And oh my God, George, their cab driver, was absolutely hilarious. And they weren't really met with open arms for sure when they went into Paris. They were hung up and inspected, basically. So yeah, they weren't welcome with open arms, that's for sure. But then at the end of the movie, of course, the French cop comes up to them and goes, "We must work together," and they just both knock him out. So, and then the song "War" starts playing from the beginning, from the first movie. So that was a iconic moment. The two of them just dancing down the street in Paris. That was pretty funny. So yeah, we do find out that Genevieve is actually Shaishin. And Shaishin is just not a person, but an ancient list. I'm not sure whether it was of people from the Triads. I guess it must have been because it was talking about lineage too. So it must have been, it must have been some sort of ancient list of the Triads all the way back in time, or maybe a list of Yeah, I guess it was a list of the triads from the past. Interesting. I believe that's correct. I hope I don't have that wrong. So I guess in history, according to Genevieve, it was tattooed on a woman so that nobody would think that the list was, or just to make the list hard to find, because nobody would think to look there, I suppose. And she takes off her wig after Carter has made his numerous moves on her from the very beginning when they first land in Paris at the casino to now, and then she takes off her wig and he just freaks out because he thinks it's a man. She says it's just a wig, and then she shows them the list, and then of course they go to show the list to Renard, and that's when he says to kill her, because I guess the main part of what they're trying to do is get rid of the list, or at least he's trying to get rid of the list. I think Kenji was trying to keep the list. I don't know. It seems like a very serious power struggle with this list anyway. Unfortunately, Kenji dies at the end, even though I know he wasn't necessarily a good guy, but you were kind of hoping that maybe he would come around. But unfortunately, he didn't. He takes Su Yung, and I believe it was the Eiffel Tower they were on. There's some sort of restaurant in the bottom of the Eiffel Tower there, and they go up and they have this huge fight scene at the end. And I will say, though, kudos to Chris Tucker, because his fight scenes look a lot more smooth in this one as opposed to the previous two movies. So I think he might have actually done... I mean, I'm sure he had some training for the first two, but they were so close together, and this one was 6 years after that, so you could tell that he actually took some time. Now, who knows? Maybe he didn't, but I would say that it looked a lot smoother. His execution of everything looked a lot smoother, stunts and otherwise. So he might have actually done some of his own in this movie, just to kind of hang with Jackie Chan, because Jackie Chan does all of his own stunts, and I don't know how much of this was real and how much of this was CGI, but a lot of it was crazy. So yeah, it just seems like the older these guys get, the more crazy their stunts get. So I guess they'd want to put it all on the line to really entertain as they get older, because they know they're not going to be able to do it forever, right? So yeah, kudos to the movie actors that do their own stunts for sure. So yeah, I guess everybody does make it out in the end. Su Yung is kind of used as collateral, I guess, to get Shai Shen, but that doesn't work out for Kenji, obviously, because it comes down to him either taking both him and Lee down together to die, or just telling Lee to let go of him and just Kenji dies. So yeah, nobody got what they wanted in this movie, except for, obviously, I guess the triads were completely wiped out because they took out Renard at the end of the movie. And it was actually the cab driver that took out Renard, George. So there you go. He was talking about through the entire movie how it would feel like, or what it would feel like to be an American to shoot somebody for no reason. So I guess he got his wish at the end, even though it was for a big reason, because obviously he was wiping out somebody of importance. So, and saving the day. So there you go. But yeah, that scene, I think that action scene had to be my favorite, is the one where they're in the cab with him and they tell him to drive like an American spy. That was it. And that's when he changes his whole attitudes towards the Americans, because in the beginning when Carter and Lee, I keep wanting to say Chris, when Carter and Lee got into the cab, he tells Carter that he doesn't drive Americans around. So he definitely came around to these two by the end of the movie and ends up saving them in the end. So there you go. But yeah, that action scene in the cab was just absolutely insane, when they're being chased on the motorcycles and the cab is up on two wheels. I'm sure that would have been a hard one to film, because yeah, I'm not really sure how they would have done that one. Obviously they had a stunt driver, and I'm not really sure whether Jackie and Chris, would have been in the cab for real in that. Who knows? It's kind of hard to say how many of these stunts were CGI. It's harder to tell with some of these older movies just because the technology wasn't as advanced as it is now, how much of it was actually computer generated and how much wasn't. At least with this movie, maybe, but who knows? For other movies, sometimes it's really easy to tell. There were some parts that you could tell just because, I mean, I don't think they would put an actor's life at that much risk, or anybody's life at that much risk for that matter, just for entertainment purposes. So, yeah, like the end scene where him and Kenji fall, and luckily there was a mesh netting. Maybe that was put there on purpose for the movie, so they could kind of like trampoline up and down a couple times. But I'm pretty sure when it starts falling, I don't think anybody's actually on there. I'm pretty sure that's all CGI'd in. But that might be the only scene, stunt scene that's actually CGI'd. And I would say that this was probably my favorite movie out of the three. Now I can't remember for the life of me my ratings for the other two. I'll have to go back and look, but I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10 for sure. I would say this one was the most enjoyable for me. I mean, the whole series is good. The second one, I think I might actually go back and do a re-review of it sometime later this year, because I was really, really tired when I watched the movie and really, really tired when I did that review. So I may have kind of botched that. I'm still going to put the video out because only improvements can be made upon each video, right? And I still like to get content out there, just to even let you guys, you know, pick it apart, and just maybe the probably lots of stuff I missed on that one. But anyhow, as always, like, share, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. If not, I highly recommend going to watch the whole series, including this one, obviously, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching the whole series of movies. So there you go. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.